Hi, Boosh here with a quick visual guide for the Rokujo Revels mechanic, also known as Stormcloud Summons, from the first boss, Shishio, in the New Criterion dungeon. Now, the way this mechanic functions is that the boss will cast Stormcloud Summons and, funnily enough, summon a bunch of Stormclouds. Shortly thereafter, he will cast Smoke Eater, which will suck in a number of these clouds. Following this, he will cast Rokujo Revels, which will cause line dashes from the edge of the arena. Where these will hit is demarcated by these lines on the arena, these little stones. As these dashes intercept the remaining clouds, those clouds will explode, and then their explosions will daisy chain, causing any nearby clouds to explode. So as we can see here, this first dash along here causes this cloud to explode, which daisy chains to cause the next cloud to explode, and then this dash causes this cloud to explode. Now there are three possible patterns that this boss can have, depending on how many times he sucks in clouds. So if he does one suck, there will be one dash, and the cloud explosions will be quite small, but there will be a lot more of them. Two sucks, two dashes, slightly bigger explosions, slightly fewer clouds. And then three dashes, which is what we have here. You can see there's only three clouds, but the explosions are rather large. So, this can all be quite difficult to figure out on the fly. It's visually a quite busy mechanic. However, once you know what to look for, it becomes a lot simpler to solve. One important thing to note is those lines I was talking about earlier that demarcate the dashes. They form a bunch of like these little triangle safe zones, which you can use as reference points to safely resolve every single pattern, if you so desire. Now let's start with this triple pattern. In this triple pattern, we see, here's the first dash. We have the cloud intersected by the first dash. We know this is going to explode first. So to quickly identify on this triple suck pattern where you need to go, I would recommend positioning yourself perpendicular to this line, because your safe spot is either going to be perpendicular on this side or perpendicular on this side. How you actually then tell which side is safe? Well, there's two simple ways. Probably the simplest is you go perpendicular. If there is a cloud opposite you, you go backwards to the perpendicular triangle safe spot. If there's not, then it's behind you and you need to go through and stand here. So in this instance, this is the safe spot. Alternatively, you can also look to see the side where there's a cloud near you but not on you. So we're going to start on this little triangle here. This first explosion is going to go off. As soon as it goes off, we want to run into where that first cloud exploded. You may want to pop sprint for this, just to be a bit faster, because they're quite large explosions and there's quite a large amount of distance to cover. The second cloud will daisy chain from the first, causing an explosion. And then the second dash will trigger this last cloud. You can see as we just run in, we're safe. And it's as simple as that for the mechanic. It will take a bit of getting used to being able to spot it, but once you know what you're looking for, it's not too bad. Here's a quick clip showing it in action. Now let's look at the double suck pattern. Again, boss will spawn a bunch of clouds and suck a bunch of them in, and then spawn a couple of dashes. Now what we are looking for here is the little triangle spot that I highlighted earlier that is adjacent to the first dash that has a cloud missing. Because this first dash, this cloud's going to explode, this cloud's going to explode, this cloud's going to explode, so none of these spots are safe, however this one is. So this is the reference point we're looking for, and we're just going to position ourselves right next to it. As the dash goes off, the first clouds will explode. After this explosion, we will follow into that first cloud explosion that's nearest us. The rest of the explosions will go off, and you can see there's very little movement here, very little at all compared to the pre-suck pattern. But that's it. Here's a quick clip showing it in action. Finally, let's look at the single suck pattern. I say pattern, there are actually two patterns for this, but you can resolve them in very similar ways if you desire, or there's a slight tweak you can do for the second pattern I'll be showing. But either way, the boss will summon clouds in a pattern something like this. What you'll notice is this is a very distinctive pattern compared to the other two, in that there's a line through the middle, so you'll immediately be able to tell that this will be a single suck pattern, which allows you to start looking for stuff much easier. Now, in what I'm calling pattern A of the single suck, some of these clouds from the edge will be sucked in, and then a first dash will spawn. What you'll notice is there's a cloud missing around the edge, like on each side of the first dash. The other thing you'll notice is this pattern is symmetrical, which actually means there's two safe spots rather than the one for the previous one. So we'll just position ourselves adjacent to these and then follow in from the first explosion, being a little mindful that the daisy chains from these explosions mean we can't just like immediately run in, we have to wait a little bit. So first explosion and then the daisy chains happen. You'll see you have to delay a little bit until the daisy chain passes around, and then I can move in towards the middle. So that is the A pattern. Here's a quick clip of it. And just quickly, here's what I call the B pattern. So again, same spawn, but the clouds that are sucked in are different. What you'll notice is one of the clouds near the middle has disappeared. So again, you'll want to position yourself adjacent to where one of these clouds are missing. So you can dodge this the same way you dodge the A pattern by just going to this edge here. Or you can position yourself near the middle. I personally prefer near the middle, maybe because I was on caster and it's less movement, but whatever works for you. So you'll see there's the first explosions, and then we're just moving into where there was an explosion for the first dash that's near us. So you can see this middle spot is just a very simple straight line move in, but equally you can dodge as before if you so desire. And here's a quick clip. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this guide useful. I know it's the sort of mechanic that's quite hard to keep track of visually when you're first encountering it, but once you've identified the patterns, it's actually pretty straightforward for what you actually need to do. I haven't seen any of these sort of visual, more diagrammy guides around for this yet, so I thought it would be helpful for people that don't find like the pure POV VoD guides useful for getting a deep understanding of mechanics. But yeah, leave comments. I'm always open to feedback on how I can improve these sorts of videos since I'm just dipping my toes into it. And if there's any mechs from this Criterion tier that you want me to cover, let me know. But until next time, thanks for watching.